Hey guys, today it is time for my Q4 makeup spending summary. So this is where I share with you all of the makeup that I purchased over the last 3 months. I let you know how much I spent on makeup for this quarter. And because this is the last quarter of 2022, I'm also going to be letting you know exactly how much I spent on makeup for the entire year. I'm going to be comparing that total to last year's total. I'm also going to compare that total to the total value of makeup that I used up this year. So just lots of exciting things to share in this video. I'm also just going to wrap things up by talking about whether or not I'm happy with my spending this year, how I feel like maybe I might change things in the new year. So I want to go ahead and start this video by letting you know how much I spent in Q4, so from October 1st through the end of December. I'm actually filming this on December 22nd, but I really don't think I'm going to be buying any new makeup for the rest of 2022. And just so you know, these totals just include purchases that I made on makeup, doesn't include anything like skincare or hair care, any of that. So I'm really happy to say that in Q4 I spent significantly less than I spent in Q3, which was my biggest spending quarter of 2022. Just to jog your memory quickly on the previous quarters, Q1 I spent $90 on makeup, Q2 I spent $77 on makeup, Q3 I spent $248 on makeup, so that was definitely the highest, and in Q4 I ended up spending right around $95. So that brings my yearly total, the total amount that I spent on makeup this year was $510, which I am so happy with, especially considering how it compares to how much I spent in 2021. So in 2021, I spent $830 throughout the year on makeup. So I'm really happy. I wasn't expecting to spend so much less this year than last year. I didn't go into the year with any specific budget for this. I really just like to keep track of it for my own information and just to make sure that I'm happy with my spending and that I'm being as intentional as I can be. Having spent about $500 on makeup throughout the course of the whole year means that on average, I was spending about $42 per month on makeup, which I think is so reasonable, like way more reasonable than I would have expected from me, honestly. So just really thrilled with that. So in the beginning of 2022, I set a couple of low buy goals, and one of those was that I wanted to try and keep my makeup spending around the same amount or less than the total value of what I used up in makeup. I actually did a pretty good job sticking to this, but about halfway through the year, I did realize that I actually didn't feel super attached to this goal, simply because I realized that it was kind of an arbitrary way to measure my consumption. I think for me it would make more sense to compare the number of items I used up to the number of items I brought in, because for one thing, when I calculate the value of all of the empties, I'm using the retail value, whereas when I'm talking about how much I spent, I'm sharing how much I spent including things like discounts. I think it makes more sense to compare the number of items used up to the number of items I purchased, just because I think that gives a little bit more of an accurate representation of my consumption versus what I've used up. Because let's say one month I used up a ton of drugstore items, but I ended up purchasing a handful of high-end things. It's gonna look like I brought in way more than I used up, when in reality I probably brought in about the same amount. So if I do continue comparing my used up products to my purchases, I think that's the way I would do it in the future. But I still wanted to go ahead and finish off the year by sharing the total value of what I used up, just because I think it's interesting to see. So in Q4, I used up a total value of $133 worth of makeup, which means that my yearly total ended up being just over $400. $404 was the value of all the makeup I used up this year, which, by the way, I will have my 2022 makeup empties video coming very soon. I'm so excited to film that one. It's always one of my favorite videos to film every year. It's just so fun to see everything that I used up in a year. So I ended up using up about $100 less than what I purchased, which honestly I'm still pretty happy with. I had said at the beginning of the year, you know, it didn't have to be exact, like it could be give or take a little bit and that would be fine, but I really just wanted to make sure I wasn't spending a whole lot more than what I used up. So I think that's still pretty good, even though I kind of ditched this goal about halfway through the year. I still did a pretty good job of sticking to my original goal. So with all that being said, I want to go ahead and share all the products that I bought in Q4. I'm actually really happy with everything that I bought this quarter, and I feel like everything I bought was pretty well thought out and something that I'm just genuinely interested in having in my collection. So in Q4, I made a total of 4 separate purchases, all of which were online orders. 3 of them were Sephora and 1 of them was Ulta. And across those 4 purchases, I only ended up buying a total of 7 items, so I'm pretty happy with that. My first purchase took place on October 15th, and this was from Sephora. I only bought 1 item in this order, and I really like that Sephora has free shipping on all orders, because that way if there's just one thing I want, I can just get that one thing and not feel like I have to put more things in my cart just to reach the free shipping threshold. So that first Sephora order, the one item that I got was the Urban Decay Stay Naked Concealer. I love this concealer. I actually had used up a mini of this earlier this year, loved it so much, and I was just basically waiting for it to go on sale until I bought the full size. So this was on sale for $15. Normally it retails for $30, so I got it for half off. And by the way, it seems like this is still on sale for half off if you're wanting to get it. At least on Sephora and Kohl's right now at the time of filming. Oh, and Ulta. It's $15, all those places. So I hope they're not discontinuing this. Urban Decay does like to discontinue things, but really happy to finally have the full size of this in my collection. For that order, including tax, I ended up spending $16.54. My next purchase was also from Sephora. This one was at the end of October. This time they were having their VIB sale, which I'm actually just a Sephora insider, which means normally I would get 10% off, but one of my very kind subscribers actually sent me her friends and family code that she got from Sephora, so I ended up being able to get 20% off. And in this order, the only makeup item I got was the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I actually had also purchased this in the wrong shade in Q3. This time I got the correct shade, very happy with it. This is the shade LN3. I love this foundation so much. I've loved it ever since I tried like a little sample of it earlier this year. So I waited quite a while to finally get the full size in the right shade, but I'm so happy to have it now. This, with the 20% off, I ended up spending $17.60. In this order, I also ended up getting 2 products from the Inky list, neither of which I'm thrilled with. The Oat Cleansing Balm, oh my gosh, I wish I hadn't bought that. It doesn't rinse off with water. I wish I had known that before I bought it. I really should have read some reviews or something, but I had just heard so many good things about it that I was like, surely I'll love this since everyone else seems to love it, but that one was a bit of a disappointment. And then I also got the Salicylic Acid Scalp Treatment. I also don't think I like that, although I've only used it twice. Not super thrilled with either of those, but for the makeup total, I do include the estimated tax here, which if there was more than one item in the order and some of them were non-makeup, I'll just divide the total tax for the order by the number of items so that I can give like an approximation. It really doesn't matter a whole lot, but for this order, my total for this and the estimated tax was about $18.60. So that was that. Normally this foundation retails for $22, so happy to have gotten it on a discount. Actually, every single thing that I bought this quarter, I got some sort of discount on, so that feels really good. For my next purchase was at the end of November, about a month later, from Ulta. This was during like the Black Friday, Cyber Monday time. And in this order, I also got a couple of hair products from Kristen S. Those were on sale for like 30% off. The only makeup products that I bought were actually part of a little set from Tarte. This was the Tarte Bestsellers set, which was on sale for $20. Normally it retails for $29, I believe. So that set came with 3 items. The Shape Tape Creamy Concealer, which I got in the shade 20B Light, which is actually a perfect shade. The Maneater Mascara, which I have not opened yet. I'm gonna wait until I use up my other mascaras first. And then the Maracuja Juicy Lip in the shade Hibiscus. This was really the thing in the set that I was most excited about. I was actually thinking about just getting one of these in a full size, but when I saw they had that set with the mini and 2 other things that I was curious to try, I decided that was a better deal for me. So far I really am liking the Maracuja Juicy Lip. It's very soft, which I kind of expected going into it. It's basically like a solid lip gloss. So it looks like a tinted balm. As you apply this to your lips, it'll melt onto your lips into a gloss. So you do have to be very careful not to like twist up too much of this or it'll get really messy. But I'm glad that I got the mini just so that I could make sure I liked the formula before committing to a full size. So 3 Tarte minis for a total of about $21, including estimated tax, which means that I essentially got each of these minis for about $7 a piece, which I think is pretty good. I really haven't tried anything from Tarte in a long time. The only other thing I think I've ever tried from Tarte was a little mini lip paint that I had that they don't even sell anymore. So I've been wanting to try some things from Tarte for a while, and I think this little set is a good way to just get acquainted with the brand. So that was my Ulta order. So my fourth and final order was once again from Sephora. This was when they offered the 20% off to everyone, not just the VIB Rouge members. Hilarious that they did this like just weeks after the VIB sale had just ended, but just goes to show I really don't think that the VIB sale is anything to write home about unless you are already a Rouge member. But everyone else doesn't even get a full 20% off, which I just think is kind of a joke. So it seems like this is something they've started doing in recent years where they then just offer a 20% off code to everybody. So I really think the moral of the story here is if you aren't a Rouge member, then you should just wait a few weeks or wait a month or so, and they'll probably end up giving everyone a 20% off coupon around the holidays. So I had a couple of things that I wanted to get with the 20% off, and then I also wanted to get my birthday gift, which for my birthday gift, I ended up just selecting the 250 points because they were completely out of the gift that I really wanted, which was the little Tatcha skincare set. I think it just came with their moisturizer and like one other product, maybe an eye cream, maybe a lip product, I can't remember. That was the one I really wanted, but unfortunately having a birthday later in the year usually means that the good birthday gifts are all gone by the time your birthday rolls around, so I didn't end up getting that one. They also had a little Amika set that had their hair mask, which I do really like, and their dry shampoo, but I decided not to get that because the dry shampoo, I've tried it in the past and it really irritated my scalp very badly, so I could have gotten it just for the hair mask, but I was like, well, that's kind of wasteful. I mean, I guess I could have like given the dry shampoo to someone else, but I decided to just get the extra 250 points and just call it a day, because I think if I accumulate enough points then I could probably get something even better than any of the birthday gifts they had. So that is what I decided to do there. But I also, one of the main things I wanted to get was an eyeshadow primer because I am almost out of my CoverGirl one, and so I ended up getting the one from Rare Beauty. I have never tried anything from Rare Beauty before, so I figured this would be a good little way to finally try out the brand. I haven't opened it yet. I will just go ahead and finish up my other one before I crack into this one, but I'm really excited to try this out. And I also really like the packaging. I think it's so smart that it has this flat side, so it's not gonna like roll around in your drawer or anything. I really like that. So normally this Rare Beauty eyeshadow primer retails for $18, but with the discount it ended up being about $14, so I feel like that was a pretty good deal for a nice, like, kind of fancier eye primer. So really excited to try that. I will definitely let you know how that ends up working for me. Then the other item I got in this order was a little bit more of an impulsive purchase, but I mean, not really. I had been really wanting to try something from Danessa Myricks for the longest time, and I stumbled across these eyeshadows and I was just so intrigued. So this is a little potted eyeshadow. This is called the Infinite Chrome Flakes. It's a multi-chrome gel for eyes in the shade Strobe Light. First of all, look at this packaging. How adorable is that? So this normally retails for $25. With the discount, it was $20. And for a multi-chrome shadow, I think that's a really fair price. Most multi-chromes, like the Lethal Cosmetics multi-chromes, or even like Cleona multi-chromes, I think are like $16 a piece. So I feel like $20 for a multi-chrome is pretty standard. It kind of has the texture of sort of like a ColourPop Jelly Much shadow. So here's the swatch. I really hope that this is doing it any sort of justice. I feel like it's not, but it has a clear base and it shifts from like a pink to blue to purple. So pretty. That's the kind of color that I refer to as like the color of a unicorn horn. So beautiful. I cannot wait to test that out on my eyes. This actually only just came in a few days ago, so I haven't had the chance to try it out yet. Those were the two makeup items that I got in that Sephora order. The only other thing I got in that order was a fragrance, actually, so not included in this total, but if you're curious, I got the Clean Reserve Skin perfume in the travel size. You might remember, I had a little tiny roller ball of this like earlier this year, loved it, and it's been on my wish list ever since, so I decided to go ahead and I didn't want to get the full size just yet. The travel size, I really like that it has a sprayer on it. That was like the main reason I got this, because normally travel sizes, if they have a roller ball, I'm just not interested. But love that this actually has a sprayer. I'm actually going to put some on right now. Such an incredible scent. That I ended up getting for like $20, $25, something around there, which I felt like was a pretty good price. I think the full size of this is around $100. If I use this up and I still love it as much as I do now, I will definitely get the full size at some point, but either way, I'm really happy to have this in my fragrance collection now. So my total for the 2 makeup items in that Sephora order ended up being around $38.40, including tax. So that right there is all of the makeup that I bought in Q4. I feel like this is a very nice, small amount of things. Everything that I got, funnily enough, was high-end. I guess the OIS and the Rare Beauty product, those are kind of more like mid-range brands, but the fact that I got basically 7 higher-end products for under $100, I think that's pretty good. But most importantly, I really feel like all of these items were things that I really carefully considered, and they're things that I'm really excited to have in my collection. I feel like they add something new to my collection, and even though I haven't tried all of these things yet, I don't feel like any of these are things that I regret buying. I don't feel like any of them were really like mindless or super impulsive purchases. They're all things that I was just really excited to try. So that's really the most important thing, even more than the total spent. Really what I want to make sure of in these videos is that I'm spending intentionally, and that the things that I'm buying are things that I'm not just buying just to buy things, but that I'm buying them because I feel like they're going to add to my collection and they're just going to be really fun things to play with. Another one of my low buy goals that I set at the start of this year was that I wanted to purchase no more than 5 eyeshadow palettes and 5 lip products, including, well, I think originally I said just lipsticks, but then I ended up deciding to just include lip glosses in that total as well. I ended up doing so well with both of these, and I definitely think this is something that I'm going to continue doing in the future. So for eyeshadow palettes, as you saw, I didn't purchase any new palettes in Q4, so that means that my total is the same that it was in my last check-in. I have only purchased 2 eyeshadow palettes this year, which is wild. I can't believe that I only bought 2 palettes this year. That's really, honestly, unheard of for me. I mean, at least since the start of my channel, I think that's the fewest palettes I've bought in a year in a long time. The 2 palettes that I bought this year were the Flower Jungle Lights palette and the Essence Coral Me Maybe palette. I don't normally include PR towards these totals because normally I don't really have control over what brands are sending me, but there was one palette, my Lethal Cosmetics Build Your Own palette, that they sent to me, but I was able to choose every shade in the palette, so I feel like it might kind of make sense to include that towards this total. So if we do count that, then the total would be 3 out of 5 palettes for the year, but either way, I was well below my 5 palette limit, which feels so good to say. For lip products, as you saw, I did purchase 1 new lip product in Q4, which would bring my total, which was 2 in my last check-in, up to 3 out of 5. Once again, though, another sort of PR situation's kind of like in that gray area. I'm not sure whether to include it here or not, but I was able to pick out some products to try out from YesStyle recently. Most of the things I got were sunscreens, which I'm going to be doing a full roundup of K-Beauty cruelty-free sunscreens. So excited. That'll be coming probably, spring of 2023, but I got a ton of sunscreens in that order to try out. I did pick out a few makeup things from Kaja because I think they're one of the few cruelty-free makeup brands that I know of on YesStyle, so 2 of the things I picked out from them were lip products. One of them was their Love Swipe in the shade Call Me. Such cute packaging. And I also got the Heart Melter Lip Gloss Stick, which actually sounds like it's kind of similar to the Tarte Juicy Lip. It has this cute little heart shape. So if we count those 2, then I am at 5 lip products for the year, so still was able to stay within my limit for the year, and I am just so happy about that. 5 lip products for the whole year also is pretty unheard of for me. I feel like lipsticks and eyeshadow palettes, at least in the past, have been kind of like my weakness. Like, those are just things that I'm always, like, I always want more of them, even if I don't need any more. I love having a variety of those things, but I definitely think setting this limit for the number of these products for the year was really helpful to me because it did ensure that I kept my purchases to a minimum, but really the main reason it was helpful was because anytime I was thinking about buying a new lip product or a new eyeshadow palette, I was a lot more careful before I made that purchase because I knew that it was going to go towards that 5 product total for the year. So anything that I bought, I wanted to make sure that it was something that I really wanted, that I had really thought about for a long time, and that I wasn't just making like quick impulsive purchases. And when we look at the lip products and eyeshadow palettes that I bought, they were all products that I was really excited to try. Most of these were things that I had had on my wish list for a long time, especially the non-PR ones like the Tarte Maracuja Juicy Lip. This has been on my wish list for like a year. Same with the Bite Lip Crayon and Stinger, the Tower 28 Lip Gloss, and the 2 eyeshadow palettes also were ones that I had been really interested in trying. So I think that that strategy is going to be really helpful for me going forward. Even though in general I am a pretty smart spender, like I said, I don't really feel like I need to set like a strict makeup budget for the year because I'm pretty good about keeping my purchases to a minimum and keeping my collection curated. But I do think having this product specific cap is a really good strategy for me. So I think I'm going to continue doing something like this in 2023 as well. I might do it for select categories or maybe even all categories. Or I might even do, instead of it being product specific, I might just say like, I want to purchase no more than 5 products a month. Yeah, so there's a few different possibilities I'm considering. Let me know if you have any ideas or any other things that maybe I haven't thought of. Definitely open to suggestions as well. By the way, you might remember a couple of months ago I posted a video basically asking you guys if you would like for me to start buying more makeup. There was more nuance to the conversation than that, obviously, but I'll post that video below if you want to watch it. I do feel like my perspective has changed a little bit since that video. So I think I was going to talk about that in this video, but then I realized I had so much to say that I'll probably just save that for maybe just like a chatty get ready with me coming up soon, where I just talk a little bit about how I'm going to approach purchasing makeup for my channel for review purposes moving forward. Ultimately, I don't really want my spending on makeup to increase a whole lot in the new year. I really don't. I think I do want to continue to just keep my spending pretty low. Not that I won't continue to incorporate some reviews on my channel, but I don't really think I want to become a very review heavy channel. I think I'll probably do some reviews here and there of products that genuinely interest me and that I also think will be interesting for you to hear about, but more on that to come in an upcoming video. I definitely still plan to continue doing these quarterly spending check-ins in 2023. I really enjoy filming them. I find them really interesting just for me personally to look back at my spending and what I've bought. But I also think it's really important for me to be transparent with you about how much I've bought, especially because so much of my channel focuses on slow consumerism, mindful consumption. I want to show you kind of what that looks like for me, not because I want you guys to emulate what I'm buying, because everyone's different, but I just think it's interesting to see. So yeah, I think that's all for today's video. I feel like I don't know quite how to end this, but that is everything that I wanted to share. All in all, I'm really quite happy with where I'm at currently, and I hope to continue these habits moving forward. So thank you all so much for hanging out and watching this video. I hope you had fun. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I do lots of low-buy type of content. I do a project pan, lots of content just around using your collection. So would love to see you back soon, and hopefully I will talk to you again in my next video. Bye.